what's happening on January 6th. We all know that Dustin Zarni has worked incredibly hard as our Board of Elections Commissioner. I've talked to not only Dustin, but folks across the country that work on our elections, and I have been heartbroken to hear about the threats that many of them have received from everyday people online, including 2 secretaries of state who personally told me that they experienced death threats because of the big lie and the discord that it fueled. So really excited to hear from Dustin, who's an expert on all things election, and his thoughts on this day.
All right, Dustin, let's do this.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm Dustin Zarni. I'm the Democratic Elections Commissioner. I'm here representing myself today as a citizen, because what happened on January 6th 2 years ago affected us as citizens. It was a gut shot to the bedrock of our own democracy. The free and fair transfer of power, the peaceful transfer of power that has been a staple of our democracy, no matter what we've gone through, no matter the incredible strife that we've had in our history. We've never had an insurrection on the day that the actual transfer of power was supposed to happen in our capital, and our capital was invaded. You know, I feel lucky because here in this community and here in New York, for the most part, we haven't seen the type of threats, we haven't seen the type of coercion that we've seen in other states, but there are still pockets here in New York State that we have seen this type of manifestation of election denialism. Just last year, we had a major lawsuit happening right around election time, around last time that we were here speaking, where Republicans statewide were trying to throw out absentee ballots here in New York, that and trying to coerce Republican elections commissioners to follow their lead. Luckily, they were able to resist, but that coercion happened. So I want to shout out to one of my favorite senators, Rachel May, who is about to put in a bill to protect election workers and to make it a the penalties for engaging in this type of coercion or political threats. But I also want to talk about the root cause of why this is all happening. This is happening, and it's not just January 6th. It wasn't just with Donald Trump's election in 2016. This has been happening for generations because it is about othering people. It is about taking groups of people and saying they don't know how to choose leaders, so we're going to put systems in place to make sure that their will is thwarted and our will is surveyed. And that takes its form in white supremacy. It takes its form in ideological supremacy, where somehow a conservative ideology is better than a liberal ideology. And they don't know what they're doing, so we have to protect them from themselves and their votes. And of course, if the votes go the wrong way, it must be fraud. No evidence, but it must be fraud. And those type of lies have been going on for years. It took its root in voter ID laws. It took its root in segregation. It took its root in the horrible decisions of the Supreme Court in gutting the Voting Rights Act. And also Citizens United. All of this took its root well before the election of Donald Trump. And in 2012, the Republican Party did an autopsy where it said, hey, our policies aren't bringing along certain minority groups, certain other groups. Maybe we should change some of our policies and do some outreach. And it was immediately thwarted with the Freedom Caucus rise in 2014 in that midterm, and then it continued to be just put aside in 2016 with Donald Trump. And that foundation is what led to January 6th. It's what, led to, it birthed election denialism. Of course, birtherism with Obama that happened in 2008 was part of that as well. And then, of course, it birthed election denialism, which drove people into a frenzy, said that the election had to be fraudulent, had to be, had to be protested because it didn't go the way that they wanted. And then that led to January 6th and the coddling of these insurrectionists. And afterwards, we had a January 6th commission, and it had to be done by Democrats only, with a couple of Republicans, because the Republicans didn't want to take part in it because they wanted to put insurrectionists on the commission, and Nancy Pelosi said no. And so they didn't even want to get to the bottom of what happened January 6th. And now we see them talking about it being, oh, it was just, a couple of rowdy people going wrong, all of this. And we saw in that January 6th Commission report that this was an orchestrated attack on our government. And if it wasn't for the work of the last 2 years of the January 6th Commission, we wouldn't know this. And now that we do, we see that the very same insurrectionists, the 20 or so House Republicans that are voting against, putting this vote after vote and not allowing for a speaker to come forward, they were all election deniers. Many of them were coddling the insurrectionists that did on January 6th. So this insurrection never stopped 2 years ago. It continues every day. Every day that they deny how bad it was. Every day that they vote to gut the Congressional Ethics Office, so it will, it won't allow them to be investigated. Every day that this goes on and that people are not held accountable, and I'm not just talking about the rioters, I'm talking about the people who planned the incident, and yes, Donald J. Trump himself, who was at the Fort, our Justice Department is going to move at the speed that they have to move, but people need to be held accountable, or else we will never, we will have a January 6th for the next day,
That's right.
For our lives. So we need to continue to hold people accountable, and it's, there's some schadenfreude looking at the disaster that is happening up on the Hill right now, but it's also a disaster of our own. Staffers on January 13th will not be able to be paid if this isn't resolved. Real people are going to get hurt. We can't even pass bills. We have a debt ceiling limit in February. There's a lot of things that are coming down the line that our government needs, and these people don't care. They only care about their own power, and they only care about causing chaos in the system. So we have to hold them accountable. Yes, we have to go vote, but we have to do everything in between every election, and we have to vote in every election and in every race in this election. And we have to hold all of them accountable. Thank you.
All right.